dears, welcome back to another What's for Dinner. Our first meal this week is going to be actually our first soup this fall, because it's still kind of hot. In our crock pot, we're gonna make potato soup. So you need one 32-ounce bag of hash brown potatoes, not shredded. They're called Southern style. It says bacon bits, but I'm just gonna cook up this fully cooked thick cut bacon. 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. This is the 10-ounce container. 1 8-ounce of Philadelphia, well, cream cheese. You can use any brand. I feel the cheaper brands don't melt as good, but this one, the Philadelphia, melts pretty good, and we need it to be melty because it's soup. And then 24 ounces of chicken stock. This is a 48-ounce can or container. I'm just gonna use the rest of it because it feels like it's like half full, so that should be enough. Throw it all in the crock pot and cook it all day. And there you have it, except the bacon. The bacon I'm just gonna sprinkle on top when the soup is done. I'm gonna start by adding the soup first. I'm gonna add all the liquid first so I can kind of stir it around so it's just not all in. The potatoes don't just get in clops. Now the cream cheese. Probably would have been better just to leave it out for a little while before I started this so it could melt a little bit. I had it in the fridge, so it's kind of hard. Oh well, that'll melt up once the crock pot is on. And now for the main ingredient, the potatoes. Now I'm just gonna cook it on low. For 8 hours. Hi my dears, tonight's dinner is going to be salmon. I'm gonna use up the rest of this cabbage that I had left over from my Mississippi pot roast. Use up the carrots. Side dish is gonna be mashed potato, obviously that too, mashed potato. And then I just pour this hollandaise sauce on my salmon. I'm gonna put some lemon pepper on my salmon and just fry it up. I already have my pots and pans ready to go. This will be for the cabbage and the carrots, salmon, hollandaise, mashed potato. This is cooking up nicely. I just put some butter in my pan. And I am going to put in these salmons. I'm just gonna put it skin side up first. And I'm just gonna cook them on that side for 5 minutes and then flip them. For the hollandaise, it just says to mix a tablespoon of butter and a cup of milk. Whisk it together, pour in the packet, and just let it cook. Once the butter is melted, I'll pour in the packet of hollandaise. I just flipped the salmon. It had been 5 minutes, so I flipped them. And now I'm just gonna let them cook probably another 10 minutes on the skin side down. Water's boiling up for the mashed potato. The hollandaise is melting, the butter or the Butter is melting in there for me to pour in the hollandaise packet. And the cabbage and the carrots are almost done. And there it is, all served up. Salmon with the hollandaise sauce, cooked for 25 minutes. Cabbage and carrots, and my mashed potato. And there's mine. Delicious. On this night, I went to go get a mani-pedi. I jokingly asked my husband if he wouldn't mind browning up the ground beef and making the rice for me. So when I got home, all I had to do was stuff the bell peppers. Also, I asked him, do you think you could film it? And he really did. When I walked in the house and I smelt the ground beef, I was just so happy. Anywho, so he's making up the rice here. It is a half a cup of rice and a cup of water. And he's just going to put the white rice feature on the rice maker. And once the ground beef was cooked, he just drained it, all the oil out, and then he wiped it down, put the ground beef back, and put some rice in with it and mixed it all together. And now he's going to wash the green bell peppers. This was the cutest part when I was editing this. When he is cutting the stem off, look how cute he is. Like showing you guys what he's doing. It was so perfect. So he's just taking off the stem. So when I get home, I can just stuff that ground beef and rice mixture in there. Props to my hubby here. Anthony, you did a great job. Thank you for helping me out. The rice and the ground beef is in there, ready to be stuffed in the bell peppers. My oven is preheating 350. I greased this baking dish that I'm gonna put the peppers in. So I'm going to cook the bell peppers in the dish at 350 for 10 minutes by themselves, covered with tin foil. Then I'm going to take the tin foil off, put the ground beef and rice mixture in there, sprinkle a little bit of cheese, and then cook them for another 10 minutes. And then I'm going to check then, and if I have to add a little extra time, I will. Next time I make these, though, I think I will cook the peppers by themselves, maybe for 15 to 20 minutes, because they were still a little crunchy. They were delicious nonetheless, but they were still a little crunchy. I would have liked them a little bit softer. after they had cooked for the 10 minutes stuffed, I ended up just putting them under the broiler for about 5 minutes, just until the cheese got a little brown on top. They turned out so delicious. I'm getting close-ups because I put them on a ginormous plate when it was just a tiny bell pepper. And for tonight's dinner, we are making this steak Romano and garlic herb pan sauce with tomato and Parmesan orzo. So the directions say before you start, bring 4 cups of water to a boil. So I started that already. I have my other pan here ready for the steak, and then it says you'll need a wire drainer. So I've got that ready to go. Here's the 2 steaks. I'm just gonna show you everything that is in my bag. Some chives, some Parmesan, the orzo, tomatoes, roasted garlic herb dollop, white wine, a beef flavored demi-glace concentrate, and then a shallot. That was everything in the bag. The water for the orzo is boiling, so now we're just gonna add it. Start the orzo. Once water is boiling, add orzo and cook until al dente 4 to 5 minutes. Drain the orzo in a wire mesh, and I already have that ready to go. Now, while the orzo cooks, we're going to prepare all these ingredients. We're just gonna half the tomatoes, thinly slice the chives, and peel and mince the shallots. And then once I've done that, I'm just gonna pat dry our steak. Once I'd patted the steaks dry, I just added some salt and pepper. Then back to the orzo, I added 1 teaspoon of olive oil, stirred that in. Then I added in the shallots, and then I stirred that in, and then I added a pinch of salt, and I let that cook up for 3 minutes. Once that had cooked up, I poured in the wine, and I let that cook for 60 seconds. Then I added the tomatoes and let that cook for 3 minutes, and the orzo was done. Onto the steaks. I just put 2 teaspoons of olive oil in the pan, cooked the steaks each side for 5 minutes. Then I took them out and let them rest. I didn't even clean the pan, I just went on to make the sauce. I added the demi-glaze, 2 tablespoons of water, a pinch of salt, and I brought it to a simmer. Once it was simmering, I added that garlic and herb butter, and I stirred it constantly until it melted and was completely incorporated. I think that took about 2 minutes. Then I removed from the burner and I plated it up, and here is what it looks like. It was so good. And that concludes this week's What's for Dinner. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.